time. It's combining the wisdom of East and the West to accomplish things more successfully and efficiently. And on the screen is my contact information. I'm Dr. Mingxu Wang. Afterwards, if you have any questions, you can contact me through my email address, my website, and also my WeChat. The film site can be watched free in the United States with the free link as you see. In China is the Quark application you can see. Okay. The next Shi Ban Gong Bei Pro is on December 17th, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Usually it's third Wednesday of every month. So you can take a picture of the screen and record the time and the Zoom number of the December Shi Ban Gong Bei Pros. It's on December 17th, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. So just take a picture of the screen. You have the information. If any of you who do not have the my Shi Ban Gong Bei book, please feel free to email me your mailing address, and I'll be happy to mail it to you. The little booklet as a present. Okay, let's go ahead and start. Regarding my intro, I just want to highlight the amniotic membrane, which continue to help patients from around the world, and also the Sight Restoration Foundation, which have been helping patients from around the world, particularly blind orphan children. Briefly about my story, I grew up during Cultural Revolution in China, and at age 14, I was not allowed to go to school. I had to learn the Chinese violin and learn how to play music instrument to try to avoid deportation for labor camp. 1976 came, the Cultural Revolution ended, and with my parents' help, and I was very lucky to get into University of Science and Technology of China. In 1982, I came to America, studied at University of Maryland for PhD in laser physics, finished postdoc at MIT. I wanted to go to medical school, but I was discriminated against because I'm Chinese. Fortunately, I did not give up. After postdoc of laser physics at MIT, I finished my medical degree at Harvard and MIT Joint MD program. 1991, I graduated and invited my parents over. So the movie Sight has been dedicated to my parents. The reason I got 2 doctorate degrees, one in medicine, one a PhD in laser physics, is because medicine is so technologically driven. I'm probably one of the few laser eye surgeons in the world today who holds not only MD, but also a PhD in laser physics. I performed over 55,000 laser vision corrections, including on over 4,000 doctors. This is my Harvard MIT Joint MD degree diploma. I met then President Ronald Reagan. In the film Sight, you see that I was helping this blind orphan child cajole to restore her eyesight. Her eyes completely scarred up. There was no treatment. I started doing research and realized that a fetus does not scar, but how could we do research on fetal tissue without hurting a life? In other words, do science and faith have common ground? I started my work and recognizing there is a common ground. We published a Common Ground Bible study. Through much praying and study, I realized I can use the amniotic membrane that surrounds an unborn child. Maybe the membrane is what gives the unborn child the ability to heal without scar. I got placentas by mothers. After giving birth to children, they donated the placenta to my laboratory, and through much research, I eventually developed the amniotic membrane contact lens. Then I donated my patent to the world and went around the world to taught tens of thousands of eye doctors from over 50-some countries. And today, the amnion membrane contact lens, as you see in the film site, is being used worldwide. Several millions of patients have their eyesight restored. Then, as a scientist and Christian, I recognize that I did not invent the amniotic membrane, nor did I invent the placenta. So I decided to donate my patent to the world. And I taught, and today the amnion membrane contact lens is used worldwide. Millions of patients have the eyesight restored. It's a $5 billion a year industry. Even though I did not make any money myself, I'm happy that I am able to help that develop a technology that has transformed the world, and also give the credit to where the credit belongs, to him. As we get older, eyes get drier, and this eye, the patient is 70-some years old with dry eyes. We put amnion membrane contact lens on, she's very happy. So amnion membrane contact lens show that not only is a technology that's transformed the world, but also science and faith to have common ground. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA, Wang Vision Institute. We have some of the best technologies in the world. I published a paper in the world-renowned journal, Nature. I published 10 textbooks in ophthalmological technology, and seven of them have been translated in Mandarin Chinese. I served the US FDA Ophthalmic Device Panel, the first Chinese American to be in that position, and also we're training surgeons from around the world. We performed the world's first laser artificial cornea implantation. As a human being, doesn't matter what your age range, we are unescapably affected by these 5 eye conditions: myopia, nearsightedness, hyperopia, farsightedness, astigmatism, presbyopia, and cataracts. Today, in year 2025, we can treat all 5 conditions now, including presbyopia. With these top 4 technologies, in the left upper corner, smile. LASIK surgery is going out of date. LASIK surgery is being replaced by smile, small incision LASIK. Lower left corner, we put the contact lens inside of the eye so you never need to remove it. In the middle, forever young lens, in one surgery, for age 45, we can get rid of distance, reading, and you never need a cataract surgery. On the right, cataract surgery can be performed laser or blade, but laser is much better. Even though we're living in the United States, that very advanced nation, but even in the United States, only 5% of laser surgeons are using these top 4 laser technologies. The remaining 95% are still using the old blade technology. However, even though the United States is only using 5% these top 4 technologies, at the Wang Vision Institute in Nashville, Tennessee, we use these top 4 technologies, laser, 100% of the time. We're leaving the country number 1 in the United States in the percentage of high-tech application for eye surgery. Every Tuesday, we have Vision Zoom, 6:45 p.m. You see on the screen. In lower left corner, if you have any question, you can email me any question with my email address. So first, smile. Smile is amazing technology that has transformed the world, making LASIK surgery obsolete. Second, forever young lens. We can help over age 45 to get rid of distance glasses, reading glasses, and you never will need a cataract surgery. Finally, for cataract surgery, we can perform with laser now, but only 5% of centers in the United States use laser for cataract surgery. The remaining 95% are still using blade. So living in Music City, USA, I have my own share of music stars, Dolly Parton and others. I also travel back to China to teach, I performed China's first all-laser LASIK. In Nashville, Tennessee, we're patients from all over the world. We're a foundation to help blind orphan children. The dancing I learned during Cultural Revolution now being put into much better use. I created a medical charity called the Eyeball. And also I use my Chinese violin I learned during Cultural Revolution to survive, to connect East and West. I established Tennessee Immigrant Minority Business Group to have African Americans, Latino Americans, and Asian Americans, business people. And Nelson Boron on the Zoom today, he's a board member of our Tennessee Immigrant Minority Business Group. As a Christian, I talk about faith and science on a regular basis at the churches. And also, yeah, this is a tremendous honor to be awarded Nashvillian of the Year. And I teach locally in Christian University. So science are tools, faith is the purpose. So I put my story in the autobiography From Darkness to Sight, which has been made in the movie. And this is a video about the movie Sight, which has won the Best Picture at ICVM International Christian Film Award. You may want to turn up the volume of your computer. Here's the trailer.
I'm going to help you see again.
You said it was impossible.
Ah, there he is, the good doctor.
You're going to be on the cover of the Tennessee Herald tomorrow morning. You may get a date out of this.
Not that picture.
Very funny.
Our pro bono office got a call from India. A little girl, 6 years old.
Apparently, street beggars make more money if they're legitimately blind.
So the stepmother poured sulfuric acid in each of her eyes.
I'm going to help you see again, Kajan.
Is it true that multiple doctors declared your patient irreversibly blind?
Yes, I developed this new breakthrough technology. Here we go. Do you see the light?
No. I can't see anything.
I have this patient from India. She reminds me of some things in the past that I can't get over.
The present is made possible by the past.
A long time ago back in China, there was an uprising in my hometown. Many bad things happened.
So we came to America.
Yes.
It's hard getting into medical school, but you coming from China, don't waste your time.
You cannot change the past, Ming. I feel like I'm stuck.
Hello, doctor. This is Maria.
We want to give her a chance to see again.
I don't even know if I can perform surgery anymore. I left you.
Stop it.
You need to just let go. I just don't want Maria to end up like a job.
Can only do our best. I'm with you, Ming. We can do this.
I refuse to believe there is no purpose.
I will be praying for you.
The job is teaching me that there's more to life than what you see. We have to keep going.
Thought you said it was impossible.
Can you see yourself, Maria?
I'm so pretty.
So the film is shown throughout the United States. And if you pass the free link to movie, take a picture of the screen, you're literally helping the Sight Foundation, because the more people watch the film Sight through this free link, more people will know about the foundation's work. So therefore, we can help more blind orphan children from around the world. So thank you for your support to the foundation by sharing this free link with friends. Shi Ban Gong Bei, the next Zoom is December 17th, third Wednesday of every month, same time, same place, same Zoom number. You can take a picture, so you can welcome to come back again. If you're interested in receiving the book, if you don't have one, email me your mailing address. I'll be happy to, so you take a picture of the screen, I'll be happy to mail you a copy of the book. One of the questions that people ask, how much efficiency can I improve by studying these Shi Ban Gong Bei pearls? The answer will surprise you. Up to 1,000%. One of the most frequent questions I get asked by friends throughout my lifetime is how many hours do you have in a day? Do you have in a day, man? 72 hours or something? My answer always surprised them. I said sometimes I feel like at 72, 96 hours in a day. They say, how come? It's because I use these Shi Ban Gong Bei pearls. Jonathan Haidt, in his seminal book, wrote that New York Times bestseller, In Righteous Mind, said that we're 90% emotional, irrational. Therefore, we're inefficient. Then I asked myself the question, if human beings are indeed mostly emotional, irrational, therefore inefficient, but it's a random error, how can we correct it? Then the second giant in human behavior, Dan Ariely, published another New York Times bestseller called Predictable Irrational. That means we are irrational, inefficient, all right, but we are predictably so. Therefore, standing on the shoulder of these two giants, I published my booklet called Shi Ban Gong Bei, accomplished double in half the time. The reason is that by systematic study, our irrational but predictable behavior, and apply the seldomly applied logic, we can in fact improve 90% the irrational part of ourselves, thus reaching up to 1,000% or 10 times improvement in efficiency. Because 90% is irrational, inefficient, if we can change that to rational and efficient, we can improve our efficiency by 10 times. So Shi Ban Gong Bei, this little booklet, is identify 77 human nature-driven irrational behaviors. And ask ourselves, how can we apply logic to overcome them so that we can do things more efficiently? So today I'm going to read through the first 40 and going to spending more time to talk about from 51 onwards. So the first 50, I'll be literally reading through very quickly without explanation because we have gone through this in the past. Pro 1. In partnership, the person is more important than the project. In a business partnership, who your partner is more important than what you'll be doing together. Examine the character of a potential partner before entering into a business relationship with him or her. With the right partner, you may be able to do the right thing, but with the wrong partner, you may never be able to do the right thing. Pro 2. In solving a problem, however, you should not focus on the personal attributes of the individual who made a mistake. If you do, you will place the focus on the person, him or herself, which may then incite his or her ego and create an emotional barrier that could cause him or her never be able to see the issue itself. Therefore, you should focus on the issue instead of the person. The goal here is to solve the problem and improve the system, not to blame on any particular person. Pro 3. Life is a two-way street. If you need someone to assist you with your project, you first need to do everything possible you can to help that person with his or her project. Then he or she will be more inclined to help you with yours. A person who always just wants to take but never give will never be successful. 4. Make it easy for others to help you. If you need help with your project, you need to first accomplish as much as you can yourself. Don't be lazy. If the person from whom you need help sees that you truly care about your own project, that you have already done as much as you can yourself before you ask for help, then she or he will be more willing to help you. Furthermore, the more you have done yourself prior to asking for help, the less he or she will have to do to help you. So therefore, the easier will be for him or her to do it to help you, and more likely, therefore, she will do it to help you. 5. Why I'm here today. Whatever you're doing, always be willing to step back for a moment, look at the whole situation, and ask yourself this question. Ultimately, what is the real reason or purpose of me being here today? 6. Identify the number one task. When faced with many challenges, rank them in order of importance so you can then devote most of your time to the number one task. The ability to rank lies in the core of the human experience. 7. Apply logic to everything you do. Apply logic to everything you do, whether it is big or small, and ask yourself this question: does it actually make logical sense? And how can I more logically solve this problem? 8. Check things orthogonally. When you check something for accuracy, try not to use the same method that you used to obtain your initial result to begin with. Because if there was an error with that method, you will likely make the same mistake again. You're much more likely to catch an error if you use a completely different and unrelated, i.e. orthogonal in logic, method the second time. 9. Focus on the content before form. Content is more important than the form, and substance is more important than the formality. 10. Focus only on what you do and the things you can control. Do not worry about what others do. Focus only on what you do yourself. Do not waste your time on anything that are not under your control. Focus only on things you can do and can change. 11. Learn from others' mistakes. Learn from the mistakes of others, so hopefully you wouldn't have to make the same mistake yourself. 12. Stay focused on the point. Do not be distracted by examples that people use. Always keep your focus on the issue itself. 13. Don't try to change someone else. Adapt and change yourself. You cannot change another person anyway, but you can change yourself. Your ideal work partner should be someone who, at the onset, already possesses many attributes that will enable you to work well together. If adjustments are needed after you begin working together, adapt and change yourself. 14. Success is measured by effort, not by the result. Success is not defined by how much we have accomplished, but by whether or not we have made our best effort. If you have done your best in everything you've done, then you are successful. 15. People will do what others have done in a similar situation. If you want someone to do something, first try to identify and convey to him or her what others in a similar situation have done previously. Since people generally feel more comfortable doing something which has been done by others who have been in their shoes. 16. Can I do this a little bit better? Whatever you're part of it, whether it's process or product, always be willing to ask yourself this question: can I do this a little bit better? Over time, you can make a difference. 17. Help others recall the issue itself. When you follow up with someone on an issue, remember that although you are fully aware of it, since it is your issue, he or she may not be, may have forgotten that. So first, try to help the person recall what it's all about, so he or she wouldn't have to spend extra time, him or herself, trying to figure it out. If the individual has to have to do that, he or she may very well end up not doing the things you want him or her to do, because it seems like just too much trouble. And remember, it is not even his or her project to begin with. It's your project. 18. Always be prepared with a backup plan. Whatever you do, go into it fully prepared, with at least a plan B, or sometimes even plan C. When something unexpected happens and you are not already prepared with an alternative plan, then going back to the drawing board is a total waste of time. 19. Improve the system itself. When solving a problem, don't be satisfied with only solving the problem itself. Instead, try to examine the system from which the problem arose in the first place, and find ways to improve the underlying system itself. 20. Identify the real intention of a person. The real intention of a drunkard is not necessarily in the wine. Someone may appear to want something, but he or she may really want something else. 21. Listen and then speak. Listen first. Let people finish what they are saying, and then speak. If you wait, you will actually avoid speaking prematurely. 22. Among life's uncertainties, identify the few things that are indeed certain. When faced with many uncertainties, business success, financial challenges, identify among them the few things that are indeed certain, and then just hang your head on those few, albeit few, certainties. 23. At least try. If you don't even try, you have zero chance to succeed. But if you try, even when you only have 1% chance of success, it is still much better than 0%. 24. 3 criteria to determine if you do need to solve a problem at all. First, ask yourself, does that problem actually indeed exist? Sometimes it may be an imaginary problem in your mind. Second, if it does exist, is it a big or small problem? Because a small problem, why waste time solving it? Lastly, even if a problem meets the first 2 criteria, that it does exist, and it is a big problem, then the third criteria is, will solving it really matter? Do you have to solve it? Not all the problems in the world needs to be solved. Only solve those ones that actually affect your life. So, every time you face a problem, before you try to solve it, apply these 3 criteria. Does the problem really exist? Is it a big problem? But even if it exists and big problem, do I have to solve it right now? It does not really matter right now, isn't it? 25. On what does human happiness depend? It is not how much you have or how much you want that determines the happiness in life. Human happiness depends on the distance between how much you have and how much you want. The smaller that distance is, the happier you are. 26. Restate the question, please. Before you hurry to answer a question, sometimes it is helpful to ask, could you please restate the question again? clarifying what actually being asked of you is often the half of the battle. 27. The goal of life. The goal of life is not about seeing how much we have accomplished, but rather if we are happy through the journey. Life is not about feeling that we have arrived at somewhere. Life is about enjoying the process of trying to get there. 28. You can actually change your reality around you. Sometimes we think we cannot change your reality around you. You can. The traditional wisdom is that you cannot change your surroundings and the reality around you. That traditional wisdom is actually wrong. In fact, you can. For example, if you're always positive, always choose to do something rather than not trying at all, always deciding to look at the glass as half full rather than half empty, then eventually you will find that people around you all somehow have magically changed, and they are all much more optimistic. So the question is, how did your surrounding change like this? Did you affect that change? Well, your surrounding have changed to be a lot more positive friends around you is because you have caused it to change. You have chosen to be positive. And you are actually the one who have created a happy reality and environment around you because birds of the similar feather flock together. So the conclusion is, you can in fact change your environment if you so choose. Your subjective choice does influence the objective reality around you. Fascinating, isn't it? 29. Do everything a little bit better. Contrary to popular belief, people who are successful in life often do not have incredible, earth-shattering, unique skills or secrets that others don't have. They're just starting more diligent and alert, always watching with everything they do to find a few opportunities to maximize their effort and in order to improve a little bit better than others. They may not just do 1% better than others in one thing, but cumulatively, they eventually end up doing much better in lives overall than most of us. 30. 90% of what we think is happening to us is actually our reaction. Of all the things that we think are happening to us, only 10% is indeed the things that do has happened to us over which we have no control. But 90% is actually our reaction, which we do have control. So if we can modify and improve our subjective reaction, we can then in fact overcome and control the 90% of what we believe are object things that happen to us. In other words, life is a subjective choice. It's not about objective reality. 31. Yin and yang. Life is about balance, yin and yang. Going to one extreme often generates exactly the opposite effect of what you're trying to do. If you're extreme in your effort at something, you can actually end up being non-productive and bad at accomplishing the desired goal. So the question is, always remember that you need to achieve the balance yin and yang. 32. Before you speak, first rank your questions and or answers. People pay the most attention to what you say first. So before you ask a question or answer one, first think it through in your own mind. And then ask the most important question first. Similarly, when we're answering a question, figure out your top and most critical answer and state that first. Because only 50% people pay attention to the second question, and only 25% people pay attention to the third question. So if it's important, ask that question as your first question. 33, a frog at the bottom of a well. Each of us is a frog at the bottom of a well, i.e., our perspective, basis for judgment, opinions are limited by our own life experience and exposure. We look up, we see a small round patch of clear sky and believe it is a beautiful day. We're a frog at the bottom of the well. However, when we climb out of the well up to the ground level and not able to look around the entire sky, we may realize that it's actually pretty cloudy. It's just so that the small patch of sky that we see at the bottom of the well was actually a small part of the entire sky. It is not at all representative of the whole sky. 34, the goal of communication. The goal of our communication should not be just to get a chance to talk. The goal should be to make sure that our listeners do understand what we are talking about. Don't just continue talking and be oblivious of whether or not your listener understands or even cares about what you're saying. 35, the best teacher. The best teacher is actually not someone who knows the most about the subject. The best teacher is someone who knows the most about his or her students knows, what his or her students knows. 36, people may be wrong, but they still want to be respected and heard. Although people may be wrong, they still want to be respected and heard. So respect them and let them fully express their opinion, and then consider carefully what they say. 37, left and right brains, 1 + 1 more than 2. A right brain dominant person is supposed to be creative and artistic, and the one who is considered left brain is rational and logical. However, we should not be limited by those classifications. For example, I'm a right brain person, so I'm not good at logical things. Instead, you should engage your right brain, the creative brain, to help you with logical stuff, such as applying artistry to a precision eye surgery. Precision eye surgery is a logical thing, but I apply artistry to it. I try to understand a human being, his or her passion, habits, and her need. So I use my right creative brain to engage in left logical task. So if you are doing the opposite, let's say ballroom dancing, which is artistic, then use your left brain, the logic, to analyze the physics of movement. So if you use these two half brains together, you create a magical synergistic effect. That means 1 + 1 actually equals to more than 2. Not just equal to 2, more than 2. "38. Don't do it. Don't write it. If you don't want people to know what you're doing, then simply don't do it. If you don't want people to read what you have written, then just simply don't write it. 39. Don't criticize unless you have a better idea. If you don't have a better idea, then keep your mouth closed. If you want something, if you want to criticize something, always be ready to offer what you believe is a better solution. If you don't have a better solution, shut up. Life is not about finding the best solution. Life is about finding a better solution. 40. The ultimate driving life. The ultimate driving life is to love what you do. If you don't, then change what you do. As Steve Jobs talked about in his commencement speech at Stanford University in 2005. 41. Maintain independent fairness, independent of human bias and favorism. So I recognize that last time we covered 40, so today we're going to go 10 new ones, starting 41. Each of the 10 ones today I will explain. So 41. Maintain fairness, independent of human bias and favorism. A system is truly fair if it is independent of the identity of any particular person who is placed in that position. So sometimes we say, this is not fair, that's not fair. You need to be sure you can test it so that make sure that you are not developing a bias as such. You can simply try to imagine another person performing the same job position and see whether it's the positional structural problem, system problem, or is that new person A's problem. So anytime a system is fair is when it's independent of who is being played into that position. Okay? Ultimate failure. A human being is left to his or her devices is bound to become corrupt, since we are all selfish in nature. The best way to develop a solid, incorruptible system is not rely upon any assumptions of the goodness or badness of any human being. It should be a fair system, and no one should be above the system. "43. Today is important too." It's interesting that yesterday is about what we have done. Tomorrow is about what we will do. But somehow, in the middle of that, we forget about today. It seems that today is merely serving for us as a way to remember what we did yesterday and as a way to prepare for what we will do tomorrow. This is not fair. It's like human being has human rights. Today has its day right. So the point is that focus on today, stay in the moment, and make the best of it right now. Think about it. The reason that we need actually constantly remind ourselves as such, such is because we naturally really do not do this. Instead, we tend to just focus on the past and the future and simply just ignore today. So every one of the 77 pros is a human nature that act out of emotion, irrationality, and is inefficient. So here's one example. We do not focus on today. We focus on yesterday. Today is used to remember yesterday, and today is used to plan tomorrow. Only today itself does not have a day right. That's human nature, make us very inefficient because we end up ill-prepared for things. So to overcome that human nature, we need to respect today. Live in the moment, recognizing tomorrow may never come. The other day, a friend of mine died suddenly in the middle of his sleep, and he was in his 40s. 44. A truly fair business deal. A truly fair business deal is one that in which you can picture yourself stepping into your partner's shoes, and then when you look back at the deal that from that perspective, if it's still fair, then the system is fair. In all human interactions, always be willing to look at things from others' perspective. 45. Establish validity first before you examine the efficacy. If Johnny always tells lies, you're not going to listen to anything that he says. So before you consider what a person has to say, first spend some time to examine his or her character or validity. Only evaluate what the person actually says after you have a chance to establish the validity. For example, if a Johnny always tells lies, it doesn't matter really what Johnny says because he always tells lies. So don't waste your time to examine what Johnny said. Examine a little bit about the character of the communicator. Because the validity has to be established before you examine the efficacy. 46. Never assume. Never assume that you're the smartest person in the world. If people do something in a different way than you do it, don't just simply dismiss their way, believing that you are just smarter. You will be proven wrong, as I did many times over in my life. People do things in certain ways is for a reason. So the point here is, it is better to be humble and to study what others do and why they did it. And there's always something to learn from everyone. There's always a reason why others doing things certain ways. It doesn't necessarily mean you are smarter. It just means you have not figured out why they did it that way. 47. Start with the big picture. You cannot see the forest from the trees, so always start with a big picture, the forest, before being bogged down on the individual details. I found this particular approach very, very helpful because I sometimes forget what's the big picture. What is the overall reason we're doing this, overall plan? I found myself very busy bogging down on details. So this process that bogging down to details, making ourselves inefficient, is human nature. So we have to recognize the human inclination of bogged down by details and deliberately train ourselves to look at the big picture. Because only when you really understand what big picture is, then you can more properly see in the context what the small picture is. "48. Kill many birds with one stone. The best way to improve efficiency is to identify the commonalities among the tasks that you need to do and try to do just one or very few. Things that will not, and try to do just one or very few. Things that will not take care of everything. So in other words, try to do just one thing will not take everything. So in other words, try to be efficient by identifying multiple birds to kill with all the birds with one stone. 49. Improve the methodology of doing something. 99% of us focus on accomplishing a job, but only 1% do more than that. Isn't it interesting? 99% just do things for whatever it is, just finish the job, that's done with it. But 1% of us actually do more than that. After a job is done, 99% of people will just move on to other things, but only that 1% linger a bit longer, ponder and reflect. can I do this sort of things a little bit better the next time around? Has another person finished this job in a way that was actually better than mine? What can I learn from this experience so I can improve the way I do things in the future? The nature of the work that we do will not stay with us, since we will do different things tomorrow, but the improvement in the method of doing things, which are made by learning from the experience, will indeed stay with us and will benefit in the future. I always tell my students, if I give you a simple task, don't rush and give me a poor quality, because what you do tomorrow is going to be different from what you do today, but how you do it, they will never change. So if a student don't focus attention on that, then in small things they show that they are very sluggish, not follow through, then the professor, the teachers will never give the student any bigger opportunity as such. So remember, what we do today and tomorrow may be different, but how, as a human being, how we do things tends to stay the same. The how doesn't change, but what we do, the what changes. Next, 50. To be successful is to work selectively. People say to be successful, one has to be talented and work hard. Well, these two factors are indeed two of the top 3 qualities needed to be successful: smart and hardworking. However, neither of these two, talent and hard work, is actually the number 1 reason for success. At this time you say, what? Dr. Wang, are you saying that the talent and hardworking are 2 and 3? None of them is number 1 predictor for success? My answer is correct. So what is the number 1? The most important thing to do is you want to be successful to work intelligent by selecting only the few things, focusing on them, and doing the best you can do on the few things. The goal is not to continue adding your to-do list, but rather to work on subtracting various things on your plate until there's actually nothing left to subtract. Okay? So, it's not about just talented. It's not about just working harder. Above these 2 qualities, being talented and work hard, the number 1 quality is prioritization. People who are successful, Elon Musk and others, not only they're talented, not only they work hard, but above these 2, first and foremost, they've learned how to prioritize and focus. So that's 50. So we covered 10, and the next Shi Ban Gong Bei Room on December 17th will cover 51 to 60, and there are 77 of them. And in early next year, we're going to start all over again. So in summary, how much we can improve by studying Shi Ban Gong Bei prose is up to 1,000% or up to 10 times, because 90% of us is emotional irrational, and we are predictably emotional irrational. Therefore, we can predictably solve the problem. Shi Ban Gong Bei is identified 77 human nature irrational and inefficient behaviors and apply for logic to selectively address our weakness as human beings, which is irrationality. Once again, you're all welcome to December 17th, Wednesday, next Shi Ban Gong Bei Zoom, in which you're going to go over 51 to 60, the prose. If you take a picture screen and email me your mailing address, I'll be happy to mail a booklet to you as a little gift. You can finish reading the book, the entire book, in 10 minutes. So send me an email with your mailing address as such. And finally, I really appreciate everyone's help to our Sci Foundation by sharing with folks this free site link. Because more people see the movie site through this free site link, the more people will know about our foundation's work. Therefore, we can help more blind orphan children. Thank you. Any questions? In the chat room, I put my next Vision Zoom is November 25th. Next Shi Ban Gong Bei Zoom, and also the free link of the movie site, including a link in China people can see. I appreciate you sharing these with people. I'm going to start asking my friend Nelson Borum, a fellow board member of Tennessee Immigrant and Minority Business Group. Nelson, so good to see you. Can you give me a little feedback? Have you found any of those pearls that you've heard? Do you believe maybe useful, helpful to you? You need to unmute yourself, Nelson. You need to unmute yourself, Nelson. And Dr. Chen, can you allow people to unmute themselves? So I think Dr. Chen probably did not allow people. Dr. Chen?
Yeah, he said that he may not be here for some time, and I'm the co-host.
Okay.
And
thank you. Max, can you unmute everybody?
Unmute everybody. Okay. Ask everybody to unmute.
So that way Nelson can unmute himself. If he has any input or feedback, he can actually speak.
Well, one feedback from me is that you mentioned that the booklet is so small, you can finish that in 10 minutes. However, if somebody really have to take that kind of wisdom into your heart, it's very hard to do. I mean, a lot of pearls, basically, you have to do it by yourself. If you just listen to you one time, I mean, forget about that. So that's the reason that I want to hear more about that and drill that down into my head, and have to practice, remind me that some of the old habits, it doesn't work. It's just a waste of my time. That's the main lesson.
Yeah, I think most of people read it, they understand it as nothing earth-shattering. So, but you have to read it every day. And I read every day, and I use on average 5 to 10 pearls every day. So I agree with you. Reading one through only 10 minutes, but means very little. It's on the first step. You have to read every day, and you have to, depends on situation. Sometimes you flip the book, depending on the problem you encounter, and reference to the book and see whether you can learn something. So I agree. It's a lifelong continual learning. Max, can you unmute Nelson?
I can only ask auto unmute, but I can, yeah.
Auto unmute. Can you auto unmute?
Auto unmute. Okay. I can only ask. Yeah, Nelson probably is not. He's not here. I don't think. Yeah, I already asked to unmute.
So Nelson, can you unmute yourself? Does it work? No, it doesn't work. So Max, what right do you have? Do you have a host right?
I'm the co-host.
Yeah, co-host should be able to unmute everybody.
Let me check.
I'm going to call Dr. Chen now.
Yeah.
Dr. Chen, that we cannot unmute, and Max does not know what to do. So people cannot talk. I know, but Max does not know what to do. Yeah, but Max tells me he is a co-host, but he does not know how to unmute people. Okay, so I'm gonna give Dr. Chen. Tell me your number one more time. I'm gonna tell Max. So go ahead, Dr. Chen. Your phone number, please. 832 290 9765 832 290 9765. Yes. Okay, Max, please call Dr. Chen now. You two talk directly, please. Okay, Max?
Yeah, just a second. Let me try. Okay,
No. Don't waste time. Just call him. He's waiting. 832.
Okay, let me get my phone here. Okay. My son has my phone. Benjamin, do you have my phone? Ben, do you have my phone?
So, Dr. Chen, while Max is looking for his cell phone, can you teach me how to unmute everybody? No, okay.
有一个那个麦克风，你按一下它就没有了，点一下它就没有了。
It doesn't.
我的头像，
It
你看
doesn't.
我的头像了吗？
Doesn't work. It's only me. I can unmute myself, but doesn't work. I cannot unmute Nelson.
让我看一下。哎呀，我还有21分钟。
There's one thing I can say. Ask to unmute.
Ask.
Okay.
Ask to unmute. Nelson, can you ask for unmute? Do you see ask for unmute? I don't see it. I don't know.
可以自己 unmute 的，你不能 unmute。
No. Yeah. Just English. I know. But so Max, can you call?
Okay.
832.
Just a second. Okay. 8332.
So 832 290
290
9765.
9765.
So call Dr. Chen right now, Max,
Yeah,
and he will teach you how to help Nelson unmute, okay? So I see, is it Lana? Can you say something? I want to see if it works.
Hello there. Good evening.
Oh, Lana, it works for you. So Nelson, is something on your end then? Because Lana is able to speak.
Yes.
Yeah. Nelson, do you see the lower left corner? Can you unmute it? So Nelson doesn't see a choice, an option of how to unmute that. Nelson's talking, we cannot hear him. So Nelson, you don't see a unmute button in the lower left corner, huh? But Lana is, maybe Nelson, you don't have a microphone? But anyway, as we're waiting for Max to coach Nelson, how are you, Lana?
I'm very well. We've made international news from Los Angeles. It's been raining.
Oh, yes, a big rain, yeah.
International. I do want to tell your audience, Dr. Wang, that I was fortunate enough to receive the package of your booklets. Wow, okay. What a touching experience. And I want to tell the audience, it's incredible. If you have not ordered, received it, requested, and when you do that, remember, he's not asking for a set amount. Just contribute so it covers the cost and maybe a drop over, okay? Dr. Wang does not ask for a fee, but make the contribution. And remember, we asked that it be done for his birthday. And, and so come on, even if it's a late gift, make the doctor happy.
Thank you. Yeah, Lana was very supportive. I appreciate it. She bought, I think, like a string of 10 or dozen books, and really appreciate it. Hopefully, you have friends that Lana, you'll be able to give the book, Shi Ban Gong Bei book 2. You think people might be interested, Lana?
Absolutely. I'm not going to devote this to my conversation because everybody wants to hear the doctor. But I do want to tell the audience, I ordered these as party favors. Unfortunately, we had to change the date of our event, and we're giving them out as gifts. So if you're not sure what you want to give somebody, give something meaningful. And then also request that they make a donation for this great organization. Dr. Wang has not made me the cheerleader, but I am the self-declared cheerleader.
Thank you, Lana. Appreciate it. Thank you. Nelson, are you still working on while Nelson's working on, anyone else, Wang Ying or Anna or Fei or Yue or Mary, anybody else's questions? And Max, what's your progress? Are you able to unmute Nelson at all?
I talked to Dr. Chen. No, I cannot. I can only ask him to unmute. He still have to do it by himself.
I see.
That's the answer I got from him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot force him to
Got it.
Basically, the control is on him.
Yeah.
I already did what I can do.
Got it. But Nelson still shake his hand. So he's apparently
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No problem.
I even sent Nelson a chat message about this, private.
Yeah. So Nelson, take a look at the chat room. Max actually sent you a chat room private message to help you unmute.
They have to unmute. Okay.
Yeah. So I think most likely it probably on the Nelson's end, because Lana is able to unmute herself and you are able to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Max. But of course you are co-host, so that doesn't count. But Lana is able to unmute herself, so her situation does count. So maybe there's something wrong on Nelson's end, maybe he's getting out, getting back in or something, maybe. Anybody else have any question? Yuefu, Fei, Mary, Anna, or Wang Ying, or anyone else? So Max, that you have found it to be helpful. Actually, Lana, I have a question that Max is trying to see whether he can coordinate a Zoom for which we show the film on the Zoom. And then I share my experience a little talk after the movie. Show the movie itself on the Zoom. And think about it, Lana, if you have interest, organize a group of, say, Jewish friends over in Los Angeles area. Let me know, or Max know, that he's trying to organize that and maybe test it, because I can actually share that movie by Zoom, screen sharing, show the entire movie.
I'll see what I can do. A new participant, Dr. Wang, is going to be a Dr. Yang. And I met him recently. He had not seen your movie. He had heard about it. And he was so touched that I sent him the link. So Dr. Yang might be joining later.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, the free link that, Lana, I sent you, feel free to send to anyone. You can just share with anyone the free link. And if you get a sense there could be a group of people interested, we can actually show the movie on the Zoom. It's basically different from each individual person watch the film. When you watch as a group, it's more interactive. It's a shared experience as such. Nelson, I see you're coming back. You still cannot unmute, I guess? Okay. So we have to go without you. And Nelson, as a second best plan, can you type in the chat room? Just go ahead and type in a few lines, your feeling, your feedback about today's Shi Ban Gong Bei Pro. You can, chat room, you can type. I'm sure you have chat room, right, Nelson? Just go ahead and send a message to everyone in the chat room and share whatever you would like to share by typing as such. So while Nelson's sharing, I want to tell everyone that it is next Vision Zoom, if anyone's interested, is November 25th, Tuesday, as you see in the chat room, 6:45. And also the next Shi Ban Gong Bei Zoom will be in December 17th. I'm going to share the Pro 51 to 60. And then finally, I put in the chat room the free link of the movie, and you all can share with friends. And more people watch the movie through the free link. More people know about Foundation's work in helping blind orphan children. So therefore, more of these kids could be helped as such. So Nelson, anything you want to say, just go ahead and type in the chat room so that we can see what you want to share. Maybe we use the last bit of time. Max, can you name one particular pro that has been useful to you? Anything come to your mind of what we shared today or what we shared in the past?
Yes, there's one perm you talk about that only 1% of the people over the population that reflect. You know that a lot of times like 99% of people just do it, then next day they may make the same mistakes or they make doing something that inefficient. So you mentioned that it's really something only like 1%, it's minority of people, they're trying to continuously self-improving versus a lot of people just follow the habit.
Right.
That's the reason you said only 10% of rational, 90% of the cases we are kind of irrational. Why? Because they follow their own old habit, especially for people when they get older and older, they will just say that I'm gonna do the old way because it's easy. That's
Right.
our habit. But however, if you want to improve yourself, like self-improvement, it's very critical to say, I'm going to reflect what I did today or over this week, then how can I improve that? And that is something that to me, because I teach computer science, which is rapidly changing, so I know that if I cannot keep the pace with the new knowledge, I'm going to be outdated. So it's more like my professional habit to improve myself. But however, a lot of people, especially some kind of old professors, if they are teaching some kind of very stable subject, or sometimes they will say, I already get tenure. I'm already very stable. So they just lose the incentive to improve themselves. So a lot of times, that's the reason that a lot of times those professors, students may think, oh, they really don't have the fresh perspective about some new subjects. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
1% of people can continuously improve, but for vast majority of people, they just stay as they are. Like, for example, if I'm only have the computer knowledge about like 20 or 10 years ago, then my students will say, oh, why they teach me some old thing that nobody use that anymore, you know, because the computer or AI, they change so dramatic.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. I have observed that only 1% people wants to improve, are curious for changes. And that's why I realized that a booklet like this, Shi Ban Gong Bei, and also a Zoom like this, is only applicable to 1% of the population. Because 99% people are not interested. They're pretty happy with the way they are in life. They're not that motivated to improve. it's okay. It just means self-improvement pros like this does not mean anything to them. They don't care. You can only, give things that people are interested in. So what I learned something that recently, interesting to share with you all, Lana, Max, and Nelson, and all friends, is that I've been studying one interesting question. How can I make myself more effective as a speaker? As human beings, we have two boxes to fill about anything. One is experience. One is the understanding of that experience. So each box could be 1 or 0, depending on one has that or not. For example, my audience could be 0 and 1. Experience is 0, and understanding is 1. Those are not my audience because they already know my point of view. So 0, 1 is not my audience. How about 0, 0? No experience, no understanding. They are not my audience either. Because you cannot give a human being an experience. You can only elevate the experience they already have. Elevate into an understanding. So 0, 0 is not my audience. As I mentioned, 1, 0 is not my audience. 1, 1 is not my audience because they are 1 in experience and 1 in understanding already. It's a waste of my time preaching to the choir. So out of these 4 combinations, 2 by 2 box, understanding box and experience box, 1 or 0 in each box, only 25 or 1/4 of these 4 combinations, which is 0, 1. These people are my audience. Their experience box is 1, so that means they have some experience. But their understanding box is 0. That means they don't know what their experience means. So as a speaker, the only thing I'm doing is elevating their already existing experience into an understanding of what that experience means. So out of these 4 combinations, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0 horizontal axis, 1, 0 vertical axis, only 25% of people are my proper audience. Then I'm effective as speaker. So one of these days, I'm going to write another little booklet, how to become a more effective speaker. The answer is find your 0, 1 audience. 1, in experience of what you're talking about, they already have it. 0, in the understanding of their experience, what that means is 0. So they learn my talk only to elevate the already existing experience into an understanding. So applied to this case, there's no point of talking about Shi Ban Gong Bei pros if people who don't have experience or desire to want to improve. That's a waste of our time. So this Shi Ban Gong Bei pros only applicable for people who have experience. Like Max, you talk about your experience in life. Sometimes you find, experience relate to these pros, success or failure. So you have experience. And you would like to know what those experience means. How can you improve your understanding of what this experience means? Then you are the right audience. So the right audience to anything we want to talk about in life, whether it's computer course, whether it's life coaching, whether it's medicine, anything. We should only spend our time, our precious time, talking to people who have experience about what you're talking about, but don't know what that means yet. And all you're doing as a speaker is to elevate the experience up into an understanding. So now I'm becoming more effective speaker because when I talk to someone, I try to first assess, do they have experience of what I'm talking about? If they don't have experience of what I'm about to talk about, I just don't bother. I just go to somewhere else because they are never going to get my point of view. because
Okay, Dr. Wang, let me add one point here, because before you mentioned one thing that as a doctor, as eye doctor, you listen to your patients very carefully, because you said that why? Only the patient can tell you what exactly his or her eye problem is. I mean, his wife, his husband, and his family member cannot tell you. So in that case, you learn exactly, you listen to them carefully, and then you treat them according to what they tell you. So I have to pay a lot of attention. That to me, it's really something that we cannot really jump into some conclusion to say, oh, I have seen similar like patients before, like thousands of times, but however, every patient is unique. You know that. So that is also give me some kind of very valuable lessons, because I teach college students, they're all different. And how you're going to listen to them different needs very carefully, and how to be a very, very good listener. Because you set an example for me, at least, when you talk about using an example like eye problems. I mean, that's true. I mean, you cannot make any judgment until you really listen to the symptoms and all the other kind of things that needed before you make any kind of subscription or some kind of recommend any procedures.
Yes, absolutely. From the doctor perspective, what I learned that, the problem with medicine today, as many other fields today, in medicine in particular, the doctors don't spend time figuring out what the patient, they don't listen. And I have a lecture called Be a Subjective Doctor. I have 3 slides. The first slides I lectured worldwide to students from around the world, medical students, resident interns. First slides, I said, what is the purpose of being a doctor? And the first slide is making money. Okay, that's important. Anything more important? And usually the young doctor raise hand. I say, what? They say, treat the disease. So that's my second slide, treat the disease. Then I say, is anything more important? And usually they're stumped, all these young doctors from around the world when I teach this lecture. They say, what could be more important than treating a disease as the duty of a doctor? That is the most important. Then I say, I have one more slide. There's actually a higher level responsibility as a doctor. More important than making money, more important than even treating a disease. I have another slide. So what do you think that slide says? So these young doctors will guess. As they're guessing, thinking, discussing, I tell them a story. I say, Mr. Smith came to see Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson is a hypertension specialist. Mr. Smith arrived at the door before he could even speak. Dr. Johnson saw him. Said, Mr. Smith, you missed your last 3 months appointment. Please come in, have a seat right here. Your blood pressure must be high. So Nurse Nancy, please check the blood pressure. Indeed, Mr. Smith's blood pressure is high. So Dr. Johnson said, okay, here's refill hypertension medication, bye-bye. Guess what? Mr. Smith's not happy. He's still sitting there, does not want to leave. So Dr. Johnson came on and said, how come you're not leaving? I'm not happy. Dr. Johnson said, what do you mean? You think I don't know what you need? I saw you at the door. I've been your hypertension doctor for the last 20 years. I saw you at the door today. Before you even speak, I know what your problem is because you missed last 3 months appointment. Before you even speak, I drag you in, have the nurse Nancy measure your blood pressure is indeed high. So refill medication. Never miss your every 3 months appointment. Okay, bye-bye. I know what you're doing. What you need. See, I was right. You need blood pressure refill. I was right because your blood pressure is indeed high. Despite Dr. Johnson said that, Mr. Smith still sitting there, does not want to leave, still not happy. Finally, Dr. Johnson feels that he's obliged, so he reluctantly slowed himself down, dragged a chair, sitting down in front of Mr. Smith. He said, okay, So you think I'm the doctor. I don't know what you need, right? Okay. Tell me what you need. Mr. Smith said, Dr. Johnson, I'm just not here today actually for my blood pressure. Oh, Dr. Johnson said, what are you here for? Well, Dr. Johnson, I came here this morning because I broke my leg last night.
Yeah.
So as I tell this story to this point, I put my third slide up. The most important duty for a doctor, more important than making money, more important even than treating an illness, a disease, is to make a human being happy. And many, many doctors today miss this point. They don't understand the number one task of a doctor is to be able to make a human being happy. To make a human being happy is to listen. To make a human being happy, to recognize your patient actually knows more about his or her condition more than anyone else. For vision problem, he or she is the only person who is seeing through that pair of eyes of hers. She or he is the number one authority on his or her eye problem. To make a human being happy means you may or may not be able to cure the illness, the disease, but you can always comfort. So that has been a guiding principle in my life, that I recognize that I'm dealing with objective criteria, objective science, medical science, logical left brain. I use also my right brain, the artistic, the intuitive, the emotion, the caring part of myself to care for human being. That's one of the pros today I talk about. When we deal with left brain activities such as eye care, medical, I use my right brain, the creative, emotional, insightful aspect to help me to recognize a patient is not just a number. It's actually a human being with his or her emotional need. So that's one of the pros today, how to use the left brain to deal with right brain activity, and how to use the right brain, creative, to deal with left brain activity such as medicine or computer. For right brain activity such as ballroom dancing, I use my left brain, the logical part, because I study about the physics, angular momentum, the acceleration, all that to study an otherwise just artistic right brain activity. So it's not about limiting ourselves to one side of the brain. It's about putting these two sides of the brain together. Cross-use each side of the brain. Logical task, computer, medicine, math, use right brain as well. Artistic endeavor such as dancing, use the left brain, the logical as well. So we achieve the effect 1 + 1 more than 2. Not equal to 2, more than 2. So anyway, these are very helpful things. But coming back to regarding effective speaking, I find the only people who are interested in Shi Ban Gong Bei Pro like this are the people who are curious. And finally, I want to tell you that American Association, Medical Association just published a book study, Dementia. They found that there are 5 things we can do to reduce the severity of dementia by increased brain connections. We are born with fixed number of brain cells and die every year. So we cannot change that. Brain cell never divide an increasing number, but we can increase the connections on each nerve brain. So the way to increase brain connections so that we can hopefully live all the way to the end of life still functioning, there are 5 things to do to increase your brain connections. The study has shown, number 1 is being curious, learning new things. Number 2, socialize, avoid social isolation. Number 3, seeing well, hearing well. If you have cataract, get rid of it. If you have hearing problem, get a hearing aid. Number 4 is exercising, diet. And lastly, avoid head trauma. So these 5 things is that something to do in terms of improving our ability to deal with dementia. Doing 5 things can reduce the dementia severity by as much as 50%. Now, if someone says, Ming, I'm not interested in learning these things to reduce my dementia in my older age, then that person is not the audience for what I just talked about, because he or she does not want to learn. So knowledge and sharing learning session like today, Shi Ban Gong Bei, is only for those people who want to improve themselves. As a matter of fact, one of the Shi Ban Gong Bei pros out of the 77 is, if you want to do something, you may or may not be able to do something. But if you really don't want to do it, you have 0 chance of being able to do it.
Okay, Dr. Wang, there's one more question here, because you have 1 to 77 pearls. I'm just curious, is the pearl number 1 and the number 2 you wrote like many years ago, you said in a chronological order?
Yes.
Yes. Really?
Yes.
So that's when you're very young, because you have pearl number 1 and number 2. That maybe is in your college years. Is that true?
Yes, I've been accumulating these 77 pros over, I started 17, so it's like, 48 years. So it's a continual improvement, accumulation. I have more pros, I observe more. And people say, well, are these the ultimate 77 pros for life? No. This 77 approach is what I have happened to collect it based on my life experience, which is different from yours. My goal is to inspire people to accumulate or discover your own collection of pearls. I'm just trying to inspire with this way of living. Discover secret life and accumulate one's own pearl. You can reference these, but you can add to it and discover your own. But it's not about what pearls to discover. It's about the habit of wanting to discover pearls. And that cannot be taught. The desire is innate. We can only teach a point to a student who wants to learn. If a student doesn't want to learn, it's a complete waste of time in talking about it. And the percentage of people who wants to improve is extremely small in our society, in the world. It's only less than 1%. 99% are very happy with the status quo. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that only 1% or less people are successful, right? Because they want to learn. It's not an accident. Well, 99% of people are not successful because they simply, intrinsically, do not want to learn. They may not realize it. They may blame on circumstance or others, but ultimately, they only have themselves to blame because they don't really want to learn. So they put up excuses. And that's one of the 77 pros I talk about. When things are not working out, it's human nature to think of everybody else's fault, not one's own. It's irrational, but it is true. And it has survival value. We don't blame ourselves when things don't happen well. It's because we want to feel better. Blaming on oneself is painful, but it's a more honest way of living. I want to thank everyone. Thank you, Lana, and thank you, Max. And Lana, I'll give the last word to you. Lana, really appreciate your attending before we closed out.
Dr. Wang, we want to know how the ballroom dancing went. Come on, tell us about it a little bit. Come on, Doc.
Yeah, I went to Chicago and actually the got 3rd place, and that's a regional championship. So that means I'm probably in the final now in the United States national, meaning this age range ballroom championship. My goal is to win the championship, number 1. So I'm not in the final now, which is good, a top 6 in the United States. So still have things to improve. But it's interesting, every time I compete, I'm not really compete against anybody else because I'm not interested. I'm interested in compete against myself. Can I do better than the last time? Because life is, I want, they tend to think, people tend to think life is always me against the rest of the world. Ray Dalio, the world's most successful bond trader, who published a New York Times bestseller called The Principles, he wrote that life is not about fighting me against the world. Life is about me fighting against myself, between my upper brain, which is the logical part, what I should be doing, versus my lower brain, the emotional part, what I feel like doing. So it's this battle between what I should do, what I feel like doing, is the ultimate struggle or process of life. It's all within ourselves as such. So
with your humbleness, we all congratulate you. Job well done again. And we also, you will not give yourself total credit, but your audience is congratulating you on your continued success.
Thank you.
And we're so grateful for this opportunity. And we also want to thank Dr. Chen, who coordinated all this. He may not be the face of this, but he was the organizer and the shill. So Dr. Chen, congratulations to you. And Dr. Wang,
thank you.
I'm part of the cheerleading group again. So remember to make your donations. Dr. Wang is not one to keep asking for the finances, but as the outsider, one of the best things you can do is contribute to an organization that has been doing so much good. Thank you, Dr. Wang.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Chen. Really appreciate it. And I'll see everybody for Shi Ban Gong Bei Zoom next one, December 17th, Wednesday, same time, same place. And if anyone interested in Vision Zoom, is this coming Tuesday, November 25th, which is in the chat room right now. Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Everybody,
bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.